Hey folks, BENTHELOONEY here. 2016 was quite a year, wasn't it? Okay, I promise this is my last video on last year. So, it was quite an interesting year. Other than the Trump election and the Brexit incident, I can't think of any other thing that has caused such backlash than the 2016 Ghostbusters remake, reboot, re-whatever. It caused quite a stir as it took one of the most beloved films of the 80s and replaced the main characters with an all-female cast. The public didn't take it too well. I felt the controversy of this movie flat out showcased just how divided our society is. Well, I figured I'd review this movie myself and give my own 2 cents on the whole fiasco. Let's start out by saying that since this movie came out 32 years removed from the original, the effects are updated well. While I enjoy how the effects look in the original and think they still hold up, I do believe the animators did a good job of making CGI effects that are vibrant and lively. The climax of the movie was lots of fun, and quite impressive. Way more exciting than the original climax, which was held down by the limitations at the time. Leslie Jones was also the best part of this movie. While most of the jokes she was given weren't written very well, she delivered them with such confidence that I can't help but to chuckle at them. I felt the positives for this movie ended after that. If there's one common theme of this movie, it's confusion. It was confused about what it wanted to be. Did it want to be a remake of the original, or did it want to be its own thing? If it wanted to be its own thing, why did it borrow so many scenes from the original and even include cameos from the original cast members? If it wanted to be a remake, why did they go out of their way to change the genders of the main characters and be completely different in tone from the original? I wasn't one of those crazy nostalgic people who thought this movie was going to ruin my childhood. The original Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies, and the second one isn't as bad as everybody says it is. I figured that this was just a cheap cash grab from a movie studio trying to leech off of the success of a beloved classic. And lo and behold, that's exactly what it was. I can't say I go to the movies a lot, but I noticed that this was the most boring movie I saw in theaters in my whole life. I couldn't believe I was watching a comedy movie that was lacking in so much humor. Am I supposed to find awkward dialogue, product placement, cameos, and pointing out the obvious funny now? Should I start lowering my comedy expectations? No. I have a sense of humor, but that doesn't mean I'm going to find everything that's thrown in my face to be funny. I grew up on jokes that have setups and punchlines. Most of the jokes in this movie consist of the characters just bickering about pointless stuff. It's like the script was a brief outline of what the dialogue was supposed to be, but they forgot to add jokes to it before they started filming. The biggest example that sticks out in my head is the scene involving the Ghostbusters at an Ozzy Osbourne concert. After they bust the ghost, Ozzy shouts, "Sharon, I'm having flashbacks!" Joke? I'm a Black Sabbath fan and I'm confused on what Ozzy means by that. I believe when it comes to comedy, if you're going to make a joke related to a celebrity, you have to at least make a joke that fits within the context of the movie. Having Ozzy shout his wife's name doesn't work. That's only one example of the many in this movie where jokes range from awkward, going on for too long, or just not making any sense. I expect better treatment in a movie that shares the name with one of the funniest movies ever made. I can say that other than Patty, all the other characters in this movie were bland and forgettable. They lacked any chemistry with each other and overall felt like they were actresses just acting in a movie. I didn't believe any of the dialogue that came out of their mouths. Oh, actually, there was one other character I remember. Chris Hemsworth as Kevin. Okay, if there's one thing that represents how immature and one-sided this movie is, it's this character. Kevin is one of the dumbest and most incompetent characters I've ever seen in any form of media. Most of his jokes bordered on cringy to just plain sad. This character is the Ghostbusters secretary, which was played by a woman in the original. But what bothers me is Janine was a competent character in the original. She wasn't given a lot to do, but she did her job and showed that she had a level head on her shoulders. So, why did they make the male equivalent such a brain-dead moron? Was it this movie's attempt to stick it to men and make them look like idiots? While it wasn't said outright, it's clear that this movie had a feminist agenda to it. Well, time to go into detail as to why that didn't work out too well for him. This movie makes women look like idiots. If you see this movie, the female leads have the personalities of Valley Girl teenagers. They cause careless destruction when testing out their weapons, because I guess women don't handle firearms well. They let a dangerous ghost that they went through the trouble of catching go free, only for it to kill the Bill Murray cameo, and they never catch it again. I guess women suck at their jobs. Oh, and the real kicker, the Ghostbusters hire Kevin, who clearly is too dumb to even put his clothes on and is not even qualified for the job because he looks sexy. I guess women only like men for their looks. You could say that this movie is a comedy and that the characters are supposed to be exaggerated for comedic effect. Going back to the original, the male leads were all competent, smart alecky, and they were actually good at their jobs. But the comedy in the original comes from the dynamic of how all the four main characters react to the situations they get themselves into. Fine, you can have female Ghostbusters, but can we at least put the effort into making them likable characters? Are these the kind of characters you want little girls looking up to? Just because they're women doesn't mean they're saints. There is such a thing as stupid women, just like there's such a thing as stupid men. Stupidity is not gender exclusive. Overall, this movie was boring, bland, and forgettable. Other than its Tumblr Rule 63 fan art gimmick, the movie had little to nothing going for it. It shamelessly copied scenes from the original while still trying to act like it was new, edgy, and empowering towards women. It failed as a remake and as a legitimate funny movie, as it suffered from awkward dialogue, lazy cameos, product placement, and Chris Hemsworth playing dumb. At first, I didn't want to support this movie. No, not because the Ghostbusters were women, but because I wanted to show Hollywood that taking an iconic movie like Ghostbusters and simply changing the gender of the characters wasn't enough to get me out of my house to go see a movie. However, I went to see it with my cousins, and I had hope for it. You know, maybe it was going to surprise me. It didn't. If anything, this movie came out looking more demeaning to women than empowering. This is one of those movies that is going to live as a movie that really wasn't worth the crap, but the controversy surrounding it was more entertaining than the movie itself. When the trailer was released, backlash started from all sides. Fans of the original said it was an insult to their movie from childhood. Women said men were being sexist because of the all-female leads. In actuality, for the most part, people were saying that the trailer was crap. And to be honest, it's probably the worst movie trailer I've ever seen. But to be fair, it's not like they had many highlights from the movie to show in the trailer. However, in the storm of controversy, Paul Feig, the director, saw an opportunity. They made those who disliked the trailer of the film look like male sexist pigs. The worst kind of sexist pig you can be nowadays. And it's even believed that Sony purposely deleted legit criticisms of the trailer, while leaving the few comments that were directed towards women completely untouched. Even poor James Rolfe got accused of being sexist when he said he refused to see the movie, even though the video he made related to the topic did not contain any demeaning statements against the female cast. Look, folks, his main point was that he didn't want to support a lazy reboot that was leeching off of a gimmick that it was Tumblr fan art the movie. Also, sexist? Really? The man has a wife and a daughter, and I hear he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Screw him, right? James wasn't the only one who got attacked. Richard Roper's review was accused of being male-biased. He responded with one of the truest quotes I've ever read. How insulting would it be to give a film a pass because of good intentions and diversity in the casting? That's not equal treatment, that's condescension. Exactly. No, we couldn't dislike this movie because, you know, it wasn't a funny movie, but because we're all privileged white males who believe women belong in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant. How toxic is that mentality? Have we gotten to the point in our society where people should be afraid to speak their minds because of fear of backlash and accusations? And people wonder why Trump got elected. Kristen Wiig also let her voice be heard related to the controversy, saying that she was bummed out that there was so much controversy due to the cast being female. Kristen, if it makes you feel any better, I just don't like you because you're not funny. However, Sony and Feig's efforts didn't pay off. The movie's budget was $144 million, with a total box office gross of $229 million, not counting all the money Sony spent on marketing, and the fact that a movie must gross at least double its budget to be successful, the movie bombs big time. It just goes to show Hollywood that America isn't a bunch of country bumpkins who can't count without using their hands. We're smarter than you give us credit for. If you want a movie to be successful, the last thing you do is divide the audience. By saying that all those who didn't like the movie were women-hating jackasses, instead of, finding a way to put together a good trailer that would inspire men to want to see this movie, you shot yourselves in the foot and turned away a good population of people who go to see the movies. Sony learned it takes more than to take an established franchise and give it the Rule 63 treatment in order to make a successful movie. It would be like taking a Godzilla movie and making him a giant iguana instead of a dinosaur, putting him in New York instead of Japan, and completely whitewashing the cast. Oh, right. To me, the main problem was not that the movie was a reboot of a movie I love, it was that it was a wasted opportunity. It could have been a great and funny movie about a group of women who fight ghosts. However, it was so similar to Ghostbusters that Sony just decided to call it Ghostbusters. Well, Sony, want to know a popular piece of media that has an all-female cast and is eerily similar to an already established franchise? Little Witch Academia. Here's an anime that's taking the internet by storm. It's cute, fun, magical, and it kind of reminds me of something. Oh yeah, that's right, Harry Potter. It's clear that Little Witch Academia has taken a lot of influence from Harry Potter, as it's about a group of 3 girls who go to a school and learn to be witches. However, unlike the Ghostbusters reboot, this anime is very popular and beloved by lots of people, with a high male audience. Trigger Animation did it right. They made a Harry Potter anime with an all-female cast, but they made it its own thing, and this anime has more going for it than just a female version of Harry Potter. It's a really great show. You should watch it. My main point is, the problem wasn't taking Ghostbusters and making the main cast women. The problem was trying so little to make something genuinely good and just trying to make money off of a controversy. Little Witch Academia shows that there's a market for female-led media, and there are plenty of strong female characters out there. We don't need to take franchises that are already established and switch their genders around. Let's just start creating media with strong female characters that can go on to be beloved franchises like Ghostbusters. We don't have to be at each other's throats. This isn't kindergarten, folks. We're all adults. Let's all grow up and enjoy, or not enjoy, media together. Yes, there are jackasses out there who hate women. Guess what? There are jackasses out there who hate men too. They're not jackasses because they're a man or they're a woman. They're just jackasses. But those jackasses don't represent all of us. Men, quit thinking all women are feminist Nazis who are trying to take your rights away. Women, quit thinking all men are sexist pigs who are trying to hold you down. Let's just all get together and agree that Ghostbusters 2016 is a terrible movie. Okay, we don't have to do that. But let's all start understanding each other more. At the end of the day, man or woman, black or white, we're all human beings. Let's start acting like it. That'll do it for this video. What do you folks think of the 2016 Ghostbusters movie? What did you think of the original Ghostbusters? What's your reaction to all the controversy surrounding the movie? Let me know in the comments below. Until next week, take it easy, fam!